Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney. We're here in lovely rural New Hampshire today, and we're talking about what's changing in the world for employees right now. And there are two giant things going on with a lot of very muddy, kind of unclear repercussions for employees nationwide right now. Number one is the end of the eviction moratorium. Now, you're going to say eviction moratorium. What does that have to do with employees? And I'll tell you, a lot of people I know have just straight up not been paying their rent during the pandemic, during the CDC's somewhat questionable eviction moratorium, during the various state and local eviction moratoriums. A lot of people have just not been paying their rent. And that, generally speaking, on the federal level, ended yesterday, August the 2nd of 2021. And what does that mean? It means all those people are about to start entering the eviction process. And that eviction process can take anywhere from 1 to 9 months. Generally speaking, sure, it can take longer if you hire an attorney, you fight it, you delay. But generally speaking, most of these people are going to be out on their butts in 1 to 9 months. So those people are also going to be impacted by a second thing, and that is the end of unemployment benefits, right? The extra benefits, the extra unemployment is winding up. It's mostly done in most places. It's we're looking at the end the next week or two. And so what have you got? You've got a ton of people, many of whom are having their unemployment benefits end at the same time that they wake up and realize, oh, I haven't paid my rent in 18 months. What am I going to do? Where am I going to live? I can't pay that bill. Also, all future landlords will know that I didn't pay rent for 18 months because they're going to be able to look up the lawsuit against me in court, because most of these people are going to have to fight the court battle because they're not going to be able to afford to rent a new place in most cases. So you're going to have this massive population that's not going to have an easy time finding a place to live, and that suddenly needs a job because they're free money. And I'm a huge fan of the social safety net. I'm a huge fan of unemployment. But the free money's done now, right? Essentially, in most places. And what does that mean? It's going to be really weird. It's going to be like living in the grapes of wrath to some extent, right? So there's going to be a lot of people who suddenly become homeless. That's not great. That's scary. It's scary for them. It's scary for us, right? I mean, I generally live in, I spend some of my time in New York City. I used to live in New York City. I live here now. The homeless people in New York City, they're not doing well. They're kind of dangerous. They're dealing with a lot of mental illness. They're dealing with a lot of addiction issues. They're a big risk hygiene-wise, for the city. There's a lot of issues that come from homelessness. So like all these businesses in New York City that are hiring private guards to get their employees to and from the subways. Yeah, that's the thing that's happening in Midtown Manhattan. Yeah, listen, they don't report this, but I have multiple friends who have, businesses or who work for businesses that have hired private guards to guard their employees coming to and from the subway to work. That's a reality of New York City in 2021. In Midtown Manhattan, near Penn Station, like this is what's going on, right? One of the reasons our firm exited New York City was a huge percentage of our staff were physically attacked, largely by homeless people, right? And listen, I don't hate homeless people. I want them to have shelter. I want them to be safe. I want them to get better. But also, you have to keep in mind, what's going on with the people around them. How is this impacting businesses? How is this impacting employees, which is what we care about on this channel, right? You're working, you're an employee. First things first, you got to be safe. Safe getting to work. If you can't get to work in a safe manner, you probably can't work, right? So that's a real issue. The second thing employers are going to be facing from this kind of end of benefits and end of the eviction moratorium is, well, everybody's going to be looking for jobs all at once. And all of those help wanted signs all over the country that, restaurants can't get enough people, all retail stores closing down, you can't get your KFC and Taco Bell because they can't get fast food workers even at 15, 18, 20, $21 an hour. Yeah, those jobs are all going to get filled because there's a whole bunch of Americans who are going to figure out, oh, I could starve to death. Oh, if I don't work, I might die of exposure. I might be homeless, right? So all these people, they're kind of getting like a 1-2 wake up call in the span of about 2 weeks. That's horrifying. That's really going to be hard on them. That is not going to be great for their well-being mentally, right? Or physically for that matter. But also, the availability, like all these jobs are going to be filled very rapidly. And so there's going to be this influx of people who haven't worked in 18 months, whose mental health might be a little bit on the ragged edge from the COVID pandemic, from some of the government actions, some of the isolation, some of the fear, the anxiety, the media syndrome. And yeah, that is going to be one hell of a change. So all these jobs are going to get filled by people who don't want to be homeless and starve to death. You're all going to be training. All the employees are going to be either undergoing training, or training others. And there's going to be this kind of lowering or change in the power between employer and employee, right? Right now, employees have so much power, right? Employers are trying to offer bonuses and gifts and raises and whatever, promotions, everything they can do to get employees. They're desperate for employees right now. A couple weeks from now, I think you're going to see a lot of employees desperate for jobs because the economy has not gone particularly well in many sectors during the pandemic, right? Tech has crushed it. Big tech is doing just fine. Everybody else, it's kind of hit or miss, right? So listen, maybe some jobs disappeared. Maybe there's fewer jobs overall than there were before. That doesn't seem what the government's data claims, but the government's data claims many things about the economy and about, joblessness and unemployment and things of that nature. So yeah, the employers are potentially going to have a lot of power, right? And there's going to be the sweeping my way or the highway kind of terminating people who don't hold up under training or don't follow direction, everything. And the crazy thing is when they terminate those people, well, those are people who probably don't have savings anymore. Those are people who are probably housing insecure, right? Because they are probably getting evicted. These kind of lower end jobs that weren't filled during the pandemic, these lower paid jobs, I should say, are going to be what stands between people and homelessness and starvation because they've exhausted their benefits, they've exhausted their savings, they haven't potentially worked this group of people in like 18 months. These jobs are what they need to survive. Well, the employers aren't dumb. I mean, some are, some aren't. But they're all going to be kind of aggressive about it because they know you might potentially need this job to survive. So, better do what I tell you, right? I mean, that's going to be the attitude. The third really concerning thing, and this is terrifying to me, and listen, Vox Media has done the stupidest piece ever about this particular topic. And I like Vox, generally speaking. I like Vox, but they did an article about how inflation in the U.S. is going to drive up wages. Oh, really? Yeah. Well, it'll drive up the numbers, right? You'll see that the dollar value of the wages have gone up, the number of dollars someone receives, sure. But due to the inflation in the country right now, if you were earning $20 18 months ago and you're still earning $20 today, that $20 buys less. It buys less food. It buys less housing. It buys less in terms of a car. It buys less in terms of public transit in most places. The buying power, the ability you have to turn that $20 into a product you need is less. right? If you're buying eggs and you were buying eggs 18 months ago, and you're buying $20 worth of eggs, you would get more eggs 20 months ago or 18 months ago for that $20 than you would get today for that same $20. That means, in terms of what you're actually earning, the buying power of what you're earning, you're getting less for your labor if you're not earning more than you were before, right? I hope I did that justice. And Vox and a couple other outlets are doing pieces like, oh, wages are going up, inflation's great for the employee. How stupid are you? No. Inflation is great for people who can plan their finances and invest to take advantage of inflation. It is not great for low earning, paycheck to paycheck employees. Inflation really, really harms that population of people who live paycheck to paycheck. It is a nightmare disaster for that population of people who live paycheck to paycheck. And those people are also, in many cases, being faced by what? The end of benefits and the end of the eviction moratorium. So they're facing starvation, they're facing homelessness. And if they get a job, the job's not worth as much as it was before because of the inflation. This is not a good time to be an employee in New York State. It's not a good time to be an employee in the United States. It is a scary time. It is a scary time to be a person in the United States who earns less than $50,000. No one's really looking out for you. No one's thinking about the long-term repercussions of some of the things that we're doing as a society, as a government. And we're all just kind of pretending like it's not happening. It is. We can see it. The data's there, right? I mean, this is not shocking. This is something you can look at. You can see for yourself. But everyone's kind of pretending like it's not happening. And what does that mean for you as an employee? Well, it means you're going to have to be smarter. It means you're going to have to plan. It means you're going to have to think about these things and protect yourself and take steps to make sure that you're not being pushed around by an employer, right? That you're not being put at risk of homelessness, that you're not being put at risk of not being able to feed your family because all of a sudden benefits are gone and you're dealing with all this stuff and the inflation, and stuff's costing more in the grocery store. You got to plan, okay? This is not great news. Not a fun video to make. I'm sorry about this, right? This is not great, and I wish we had policies in place that would protect people from this. But keep your eye on the ball, right? There's going to be a lot of homelessness in this country. There's going to be there already is hedge funds buying up housing left and right? I mean, they're not buying up housing so they can fight homelessness. I'll tell you that much. They're hedge funds, right? So be aware of what's going on. Plan. Be methodical. Be smart. Be tactical about your employment. If an employer tries to leverage something against you, tries to force you to do something that's not right, tries to put you at risk, tries to get a little something on the side from you because he knows you might need your job, call an employment attorney. Protect yourself. Be aware. Head in a swivel. Be aware. Be responsive. Don't be reactive. But if something's going on, identify what's going on and start talking to people to get a plan together to fight back, to push back, to protect yourself. Okay? This video is way too long. I'm going to let you go. I will check the comments down below. Always happy to chat. Maybe you don't agree. Maybe none of this is going to happen. We can talk about that. Maybe you're looking to have a conversation about what you can do to plan around all these things that are going to going, right? I'm happy to have both those conversations. I'm happy to hear about how you think I'm stupid. That's something we can talk about, right? So I will check the comments down below. Like and subscribe. It helps me to help more people just like you.